It's a pleasure to be here this morning, but I'll begin by relating to you my experience this morning. I regularly take the mass rail transit or the MRT, whether I'm going to work or especially when I come from my house far away in the burbs in Quezon City, all the way to a place like Makati. So it's basically crazy if you bring your car from there to here. And it took me 30 minutes taking the mass rail transit. But on my way here, while I was on the MRT, I, I realized a few things also in the context of this forum. I realized that people want faster, more efficient, more convenient transport. People want dignity, and people want better lives. It's not easy to take the MRT, and I think our work is cut out for us. Our work means that we make low emissions choices, real choices, not forced upon us, or not impositions, or not the only thing that we can take. I also would like to relate this with a story about Mahatma Gandhi. And the woman once brought her son to Mahatma Gandhi to have him tell her boy to stop eating sugar. And he told the mother and the boy, you may come back in 2 weeks. When they returned after 2 weeks, Gandhi told the boy, stop eating sugar. And so this was a puzzle to the mother, and he asked, when we first came here to ask you to tell my son to stop eating sugar, why did you not just tell him to stop eating sugar 2 weeks ago? And Gandhi replied, 2 weeks ago, I was still eating sugar. I hope you can imagine the moral of this story. And that's what I'd like you to do right now. Imagine, just imagine. And this story is the basis of the mantra of transformation, the mantra of development, and I would hope to be the mantra of our quest to solve climate change. The mantra is, be the change you want to see in this world. So the climate crisis demands us to imagine, and imagine if we take climate change seriously, if we were on track to solve the climate crisis. Imagine all of those wonderful exhibits out there become reality. And imagine if in the process of solving the climate crisis, we were to ensure that the rights of people to development are ensured. Imagine a world where renewable energy powers our lives, where environmentally friendly transport brings us to our destinations, and imagine a world free from poverty and inequity. My friends, if the world would even have a chance to pursue development and preserve the dignity of the human species, the first order of the day is to meet the 2 degrees Celsius target. And imagine what actions are necessary to meet this goal while in the process ensuring human development and allowing the poorest of the world to pursue their aspirations for a better life. What low emissions development mean is making low emissions measures and actions real choices for the poorest. And just last Friday, and this makes this particular forum very timely and opportune, just last Friday, the IPCC released its Working Group 1 summary for the 5th assessment report. And it does not tell us anything significantly new that we are not really aware of. It just reiterates and strengthens and highlights the problem more intensely. That human influence on the climate system is clear, and this is evident from the increasing greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere, positive radiative forcing, observed warming, and an understanding of the climate system. The AR5 says, and I quote, it is extremely likely that human influence has been the dominant cause of the observed warming since the mid-20th century. In June of this year, we were informed from Mauna Loa that greenhouse gas concentrations in the atmosphere, or CO2 concentrations in the atmosphere, has breached the 400 parts per million mark. And that is, at the least, a very bothering fact. We find ourselves at a critical juncture, and the situation is such that even the most ambitious emissions reductions by developed countries who should have been taking the lead in combating climate change in the past 2 decades will not be enough to avert the climate crisis. We now live in a carbon-constrained world, and we face a future that leaves us with an even narrower carbon budget. My friends, it is now too late. Too late to talk about Annex I countries doing this on their own. We have entered a new era that demands global solidarity from the developing world in order to fight climate change and ensure that the pursuit of sustainable human development remains at the fore of the global community's efforts. It is now time to talk about fair shares in this global effort. It is now time to talk about how we as a global community join hands in confronting this challenge. And we cannot sit and stay helpless staring at this international climate stalemate. It is now time to take action. And it is possible. But we need to acknowledge that we are facing two challenges at the same time: the climate crisis and the development crisis. This is the only way that we can start making the whole world understand that what needs to be done can only be done by attacking climate change and poverty at the same time. It was the Secretary General of the Earth Summit in Rio in '92, Maurice Strong, who said that history reminds us what is not possible today may be inevitable tomorrow. Now, I am fully aware that while this imagination or a vision of a principle-oriented and equitable approach to solving the climate and development crisis are essential elements to encourage progress in the global efforts, these are never enough, and much more needs to be done. Imagine if we can muster the political will to be imaginative yet sensitive, to be judicious yet fearless. After all, the real essential prerequisite to solving the climate crisis remains elusive. But genuine trust and global solidarity can make a difference. And I am truly hopeful that the low emission and climate resilient development strategies play a big role and form a big part of the right steps toward building trust and global solidarity, and the LEDS partnerships around the world that are fully contextualized by our emergency climate pathway and the imperative to fulfill and foster people's rights to better life. The opportunities of these partnerships for learning, leadership, and collaboration must be taken forward as we collectively embark on this journey. And imagine if we can share best practices, tools, if we can collaborate, cooperate, and coordinate effectively. These will allow us to take climate action that is closely intertwined with our development goals and our development decisions. It should be stressed, even within the context of LEDS, mitigation and adaptation can never be separable. And we note the key factors for success in promoting low-emission and climate-resilient development strategies, as we have called from years of experience. We need top-level commitment and leadership. We need integration into development planning, or follow a cross-cutting approach when it comes to climate change. We need strong databases and scientific analysis. We also need to ensure transparency in our approaches. We need stakeholder participation and engagement, peer-to-peer learning, and we must view LEDS as a living and dynamic process. We must also ensure interagency or interministerial coordination and cooperation that will include key ministries. I will also have to emphasize that this demands country-drivenness, as we see that a genuine global transformation and not mere burden shifting will make this happen. In contrast, we note the key pitfalls, and we must watch out for these pitfalls. And LEDS would fail if there is external imposition, nationally inappropriate actions, whether mitigation or adaptation, supply drivenness, poor integration in national development strategies, and lack of information for prioritization. Indeed, it is time to move beyond what we put down on paper, and it's time to take it to practice. It's time to put things into practice and start implementation. It has also been noted in the World Economic and Social Survey that nothing short of a technological revolution on the scale of the first industrial revolution will be required to meet the challenge of sustainable development. It is time to transform the world. Now, do you want to change the world? Then you have to be the change you want to see. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, on behalf of the Climate Change Commission and the Philippine government and the people of the Philippines, I sincerely welcome all of you to the Philippines here in the city of Makati for the Asia LEDS Forum 2013. I thank you kindly for joining us and walking with us on this journey. May we all work together to transform the world. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po.